Welcome back. It's your boy, the Loose Juice. And today we're going to talk about ADV bikes and ADV riding gear and just motorcycle lifestyle. So let's get into it. I recently drunkenly acquired a pair of adventure motorcycling off-road boots. I own a pair of motocross boots for riding my dirt bikes, but they really aren't well accustomed to the ADV lifestyle, whatever the hell that means. What do I mean by that? Well, you got to think about purpose. Motocross boots their purpose is built to be more stiff and more secure and more of a piece of safety equipment than they are meant to be a piece of lifestyle apparel. Now, with that being said, are the boots that I bought for adventuring really meant for lifestyle? So here's what I'm thinking. No, but when you get a little one too many beers in you and you have these aspirations of doing some backcountry discovery routes, and you've got your bike kind of set up to do backcountry discovery routes other than maybe tires, you start to get these grand ideas of what it'd be like to take a Pan America on an actual ADV trail, going not just adventure touring, but like actually off pavement, not just gravel even, maybe actually like a dirt routes where you're gonna have ruts and mud and sand and technical things that, albeit not as technical as a motocross track, still require some amount of safety gear. Now, here's the problem that I think, it's not really a problem. Here's what I think. Do I foresee myself using these adventure motorcycling boots in the heat of the summer here when I'm just riding paved roads? Unfortunately, probably not. Today is a little bit more favorable. It's currently 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Maybe I'll do the Celsius conversion. So it's by no means super cold, and it's not that warm. So I would call these style of boots kind of tolerable for the amount of risk I expect to encounter on my ride today. Would my Indy Ridge, I think I've been wearing the Crossfields, would they have done the trick today? Absolutely. I'm not Bajaing it down a gravel road where I might accidentally stab a foot down and break my ankle. That's kind of what these, off-road style boots are meant to help you avoid. You can find yourself much more readily in situations where, if you're not super experienced off-road, you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna find yourself in situations where you may have to lay it down, or the bike will lay itself down, and whether or not you're an active participant in that. And that's okay. These boots were designed for a reason. In hindsight, did I need to spend the $200 on these MSR? I don't remember what they're a oiled leather boot. I do like the aesthetic of them. I won't lie. They look cool. Did I need to buy that right now? Probably not. But I do have real hopes and ambitions of doing the Pennsylvania Wilds backcountry discovery route. Maybe even the Mid-Atlantic BDR at some point. I don't have an immediate plan to do those things, but I've got the gear. So just like with other hobbies like camping and just motorcycling in general, I think we as motorcyclists tend to accumulate stuff that we think we need or we anticipate needing, even if we really sat down and had an honest conversation with ourselves. You don't really need that stuff to do 99% of what you actually do in terms of riding. And I'm not talking to you, Mr. ADV extraordinaire guy, BMW, GSA 1200, 1250, 1300, that live somewhere that you have extreme access to off pavement ADV trails. Obviously those people exist. The gear was designed by somebody for that market. I'm just talking about here in the Midwest, there's not a ton of ADV routes. You can find sand roads pretty readily. You can find gravel pretty readily. I don't actively ride that very often. Like today, I'm just out really trying out this gear to see how much I like or dislike riding it in a normal routine environment here on the pavement. So I'm gonna ride the normal ride that I do around today. It's gonna be around Cedar Lake, the actual lake, and I'll look kind of goofy doing it. The bike looks cooler than I do. That's what I always say. But I am safer today than I normally would be. These boots are a little more restrictive, a little harder to shift with until I get used to that. I'll adjust to it. It's just like if you've been a dirt biker, or if you're currently a dirt biker, you know what it's like to, every time you get a new pair of boots, you kind of got to reacclimate yourself to your foot controls. So why do we do this to ourselves? I guess I am fortunate enough that I can afford to do this to myself. And what I mean by that is make stupid financial decisions, accumulate gear I don't really need. It's part of the culture. It's part of the motorcycling lifestyle. What it is to be a motorcyclist, regardless of whether I'm on a Harley, which I am on a Harley, but when I say a Harley, like a touring Harley or a softail Harley, you know, it's a different way of going about being a Harley rider, but we're still motorcyclists. We like to live the lifestyle, whatever that lifestyle means in that moment. So today that meant putting on my ADV gear and trying to live that lifestyle. But I could just as easily go back to owning a real Harley, not one of them other Harleys that doesn't make potato noises like the Pan America or the Nightster, the Sportster S, the new ones I'm referring to, the Rev Max platform. I could go back to being a real hog cranker. In fact, I really do want, I think in an ideal world, I would be a two bike garage. Be this bike and probably a Road King or a Lowrider ST, or I'm sorry, Lowrider S with forward controls and an extended reach seat and a pair of bars that fit me well. I really like that bike, but I wouldn't wear this goofy ADV attire riding that bike. So I guess that's the whole point, is you got to live the lifestyle the way that you want to live it. And if people will clown you for it, okay, that's fine. Unrelated, I recently installed a photochromatic pin lock lens into my helmet, and boy howdy does this work really well. I was shocked. It's actually so dark, like right now it's pretty much just a bluebird day, so the sun is out, and the auto darkening on this pin lock is dark enough that I can't actually use my internal visor lens drop down thing, you know what I'm talking about, on ADV helmets, and some helmets, full face helmets, have that. And with both of them, it's like so dark I can't even hardly read my display to see how fast I'm going. Gotta really focus in on it. I think that's kind of cool. And I know that Shoei and a few other helmet manufacturers have really put in the work to make more models come stock with those photochromatic lenses. It just seems kind of genius. What I am not sure about, and I have not tested yet, is what it's like to ride at night with this this pin lock. It's not perfectly clear. There's like just the slightest tint to it. It's probably not that bad, but it does noticeably make it slightly darker than if I was just running my straight face shield. I don't know. Let me know down below what you think about the photochromatic stuff. I think it's neat. I'm gonna continue to leave this in, mostly because it's technically it's like glued in, taped in. Anywho's, the other thing I want you to do is put it down below. If you own more than one style of bike, what are your thoughts on kind of switching between those different styles? So I've got this ADV bike, the Harley Pan America. I've also got a Grom, and I've got some dirt bikes. I used to have a Road King though. So if you're one of those people that has a garage where you're fortunate enough to have multiple motorcycles, Does your lifestyle on the bike change when you change that bike? Are you more or less risk averse on certain when you get on certain bikes? Does your gear, your external appearance change? And what do you think about that? Are you like, it is what it is? Do you feel kind of corny? I don't know. Let me know. The other thing I was thinking about when I was at work the other day, some of my coworkers know that I have a motorcycle, so they were just curious. They asked me if I would ever ride into work. Well, actually, before that, their first question is, it's always, do you wear a helmet when you ride? And if you know what industry I work in, then you know why they're asking that. And my answer is always, of course I do. I feel like not wearing a helmet, while it is in most states that I know of around here, it's your choice. You are free to not wear a helmet if that's your prerogative. But to me, it's somebody that works in the field that I work in. It's my prerogative to work with the statistics of the matter. And I don't know if it's exactly true, because it was on the internet, so who knows, but something like 65% of people that wear helmets survive the crashes that they're in. It's like, I'd rather be on that side of it. That's my day-to-day. Do I occasionally take a Grom or this bike up and down the road? Maybe if I'm doing something mechanical work on it, or with the Grom, it's usually slower speed. Do I occasionally take those bikes a very short jaunt without a helmet? Yeah. So I'm a total hypocrite. I'm not an at-gat guy, but generally speaking, I wear a helmet. And I found myself during that conversation with my coworkers kind of feeling like a numbers nerd, where I have to explain why I choose this lifestyle despite it being so dangerous. And I was trying to loosely reference the fact that if you don't drink and ride, you're significantly less likely to get into a fatal crash. If you have your license, you're significantly less likely to get into a crash. If you've taken a safety course, which many of us have, if you have your endorsement, and that's what I mean when I say license, that you've actually taken the steps to prepare yourself. It makes this pretty dangerous activity slightly less dangerous. Wearing a helmet and doing all these things to be prepared is the way that I mentally prepare myself to feel comfortable to ride. So with that in mind, it does beg the question, or really point out the reality of, like, is this why so many ADV guys in their middle age, let's just call it, I'm only 30, so I'm a little early to the game, I think, on being an ADV daddy. But I think it's perfectly normal when you're thinking about it from that perspective, that people that have professional careers and a family, that they would want to do everything in their nature to ride in the gear that makes them feel most safe from a numbers perspective even. So maybe that's what I'm turning into. Maybe loose juice is totally turning into tight juice, tight butthole juice, not cool, totally lame. Won't ever ride without full gear ever again. At-gat warrior. Maybe that's my destiny. I don't think so, but I am having fun riding this Harley Pan America. I'm enjoying this lifestyle for now, and it could change. It probably will change. So on that note, I think I'm going to end this one here. Thank you all for tuning in. Please drop your comments down below. Let me know what you think about this video. Do you like what I had to say? Do you dislike what I had to say? I'm sure there'll be some people that are opinionated on riding gear and all that fun stuff. Let me know. But I appreciate y'all for sticking through to the end on this one. Hit that like, hit subscribe if you haven't already and you're interested in it. I'll be putting out more content this summer. I appreciate y'all. Keep it juice.